Good evening and welcome to the Tales of the TT Live, powered by Podium Vodka, the spirit of motorsport. Well, have we got a wonderful show ahead lined up for you? We've got our unsung heroes, the Travelling Marshals are joining me this evening. Now, we all know that at any racetrack, any race event, it doesn't run without the marshals. They are an important piece to the puzzle. But these guys we're going to be talking to tonight, our traveling marshals, are a whole other level. And not only traveling marshals, but the TT traveling marshals. So I'm going to be trying to draw out as many stories as I can from these boys. But remember, it's an interactive experience. So you have your opportunity to get involved in the conversation. So fire your questions at us. Anything that we might talk about, or we might not talk about, that you might want to know a bit more about. Send us your questions and I'll put them to the boys. So I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Jim Hunter. And Mr.
Evening. Hi.
Good evening, Mr. Johnny Heginbotham in the house. So we did have a third one. We had Big H, but the Big H is having some Wi-Fi issues, we think. So he might join us later on in the show. So boys, I have you two with me for the next hour. Lucky me.
Good grief.
Thank you so much. So Jim, I just want to start with you, if that's all right. You were, I'll have to touch on it, won't I? So you were my teacher at St. Enians at Park Road. Really?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when I started work at St. Enians High School, it was actually 1991. Can't believe it was so long ago.
Giving away my age.
Yeah, I remember, of course, there was Hayley Coxon and Katie Renard and Mella Logue, Emily McLean, all those guys. Yeah, and it's really great to see you all now and all sort of having done so well for yourselves.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, it seems like yesterday. Perhaps we can talk a little bit about that later on after you had
And Johnny, welcome. So you've been with the Travelling Marshals for, this would have been your fourth TT, is that right?
Yeah, this would have been my fourth TT this year, but obviously Corona's put a stop to that this year. But
breaking so many people's hearts, isn't it?
It is.
It really is. Well, I wanted to invite you on this evening because I know I've seen, obviously growing up on the island, what you guys have to put into an event like the TT and the preparation you must have to go through. And obviously the camaraderie that I see amongst all of you when I see you around the paddock is fantastic. So I'm going to hopefully get some stories about that in a sec. But Johnny, for you, tell us a little about how you became a part of it, because you have to be invited to be a traveling marshal. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, all the TMs, we're all ex-racers around the TT or Manx Grand Prix. And obviously, I'd stopped racing for a couple of years, and I think it was Ned Bowers. He was due for retirement, so Tony approached me, and it's not the sort of thing you say no to, really. Well, certainly not the sort of thing I was going to say no to. So I came on board, and it's been great, really. Good times, bad times, but yeah, it's really great to be part of the team with these boys. I really enjoy it.
Amazing.
Missing it this year a lot, but hey ho, we're all in the same boat.
We are. And Jim, how many years have you been doing it for then? You've been involved for quite some time.
I think 1993 was my first year, so I think this would have been, it depends whether you include 2001 when we had foot and mouth epidemic, because we lost a year then, but I think I don't know, it's maybe 27, 28 years, something like that. With Johnny there mentioning Ned Bowers and his retirement, it's making me think, oh no, that's on my radar. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be lots of people all queuing up to fill my boots. Hopefully, I can get a couple more years in. I think what normally happens is people retire at 60 from travelling marshal duties, and I've just had my 57th birthday, so I've got a couple of years to go. Yeah, I would hope. Yeah.
So tell us how did you get the invite?
Well, I moved over to the island in 1991 and joined a local football team, which was Moraine Football Club. And part and parcel of that was going to the Crosby pub to have a drink. I met lots of the local lads, one of which was Dewan Killip. And Dewan Killip is the son of the chief travelling marshal at the time, who was a guy called Kipper Killip. Absolute wonderful guy. I was in the Crosby pub, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was Christmas Eve, and he came up to me and he said, "I know you've retired from your racing. Would you think about joining the Travelling Marshal team?" And as Johnny said, it's not the sort of question you get asked twice, but it's. I think the thing about being the Travelling Marshal is that lots of people see it, and you get a new bike, and which is superb, and you get to blast around the course. That's all the positive side, but there is another side to it as well, and that is that when you think about what you're actually there for, when an incident occurs, you need to go to that incident and effectively manage the incident. So that's quite a big thing to do. So I had to think pretty seriously about that. So I said to Kipper that I'll have a think about it, and I'll come around your house before New Year, and I'll either say yes or no. So I thought about it, and then I thought, well, if I say yes and I can't do it, then at least I've had a go. And if I say no, I'm always going to regret turning the offer down. So I said yes, and then like I said, that seems like Johnny. Trust me, the time goes so quickly. It'll just disappear into thin air. My own personal feeling is that you can't really predict how you're going to react to a situation like that until you get presented with it. And some people think they're going to be okay, and it turns out it's not for them. But I've been okay, but it's tough, isn't it, Johnny? Some of the stuff you get presented with. It's not,
and like you say, you're never sure until it's there in front of you, really. So
that's right. Yeah,
that's when you know if you sort of cut out for it or not. But
you just got to be honest, I think. And then if you can do it, and I know, like as Johnny said, it's really a team thing. Very much. There's, of course, Tony's in charge. Tony's Mike 1, and then we've got Paul Corrin, Steve Granger, Stephen Oates, Jonathan Woodward, and have I gone through everybody? Oh, sorry, Paul Corrin. Of course, yeah. Sorry, Paul Corrin. Yeah, so that's the 7 of us at the moment, and Tony's put a really superb team together, and it's really nice to see the young guys like Johnny and Jonathan coming in and making such a good job of everything in their first few years. It's just been like an amazing job. It's been
stop.
Share some of the comments, guys. We've got Kathy Martin said she's a bit excited right now with a cheesy grin. Mick Tyrrell, he said you're all good racers in your own right. Have you any stories of your own racing career?
Plenty of them.
Yeah,
mostly.
Hey,
Big H.
There he is.
Sorry about that. We're having a few technical issues, but I'm still not hearing you over well. But yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah,
good man.
Thanks for
welcome back, Paul.
Great, wonderful. So we're just going over some of the comments and the questions, H, from the public that are contributing to the conversation. So Johnny, any stories from your own racing career? So any maybe highlights or favourite moments, I would say?
Favourite moment.
I would say most of the favourite moments. Sorry.
No, you go, Paul. You go.
Not me.
No, you go for it, mate. You go first.
Most of the favourite moments involve beer, I think, afterwards the celebrations. Or if it wasn't celebrations, it was commiserations.
Yeah.
And one of the ones I can always remember that my mates had come with me for the beer, obviously. I'd won some prize money at Pembrey, and we were all skinned on the way back. And I said, "It's all right, I'm getting some prize money. We'll be able to get a beer on the way back up and on the boat." And I get my prize money, goes to the boys. I say, "You're never going to guess. They give me a check." So we had a check for our beer, and we couldn't get it. So we were very, very sober on the way back up.
Oh, no. Heartbreak.
It wasn't all that bad. It wasn't always that bad, but no. Yeah.
I think I just shed a tear.
Yes, I could imagine.
Sober on the boat, nothing worse.
And Johnny, what about a highlight for you then, a favourite point?
I mean, winning the 2010 newcomers, the Manx Grand Prix, obviously a highlight. But probably similar to Paul, it's all the celebrations afterwards, or the building up to it as well, building up to before races. I always enjoyed all that side of things as well, you know, getting the bike ready, traveling down to the tracks or whatever, especially over here. You know, I remember being literally the night before the first practice in 2010. I was up in Slick's Dino with my dad, Rory Parker, just running the bike up on the dyno. We were up there till like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and that's before the first practice. But all those times, they're the sort of memories that sort of stick in my mind anyway. And like, yeah, all the beer afterwards.
I feel like that's going to pop up a few times in this conversation.
I think with the celebration side of it, I think it's either everyone's pleased that you're okay, or everyone's absolutely ecstatic that you've done well, or as I say, it's commiserations that you've had a bad weekend, you've blown a bike up or you've crashed or whatever, so everyone's sort of like a bit down the dumps, but they need a beer to lift them. The social side, when
on the Isle of Man,
we were younger. Oh yeah, we like a beer anywhere. But Jim will remember it. Jim will remember the days of it was a massive social side to the racing. Yeah. Everybody used to hang out together. Used to go for beers together. Yeah. Whereas I think now it's gone a little bit squeaky clean. Everyone's got the hair gel in, the sunglasses, the paddock bikes, and they don't do anything. They don't mix. So I think that, basically, you look back to the heyday of the sport was probably Barry Sheene, and he used to travel the world, and he caused mayhem wherever he went. He was absolutely brilliant, and that's what everybody wanted to be. But no, it's gone a little bit too sterile, I think, now. Don't know what you boys racing, if you agree on that.
I think road racing's still pretty raw. It's still pretty grassroots, I think. Yeah, raw, definitely. Yeah.
I'm sure everybody thinks back to their youth and thinks they had the best of it. But it definitely seemed like a lot more fun when I was riding. I've got such fantastic memories, and it just doesn't seem the same now. It just doesn't seem quite so much fun, and people are throwing so much money at it. And you could buy a bike and throw it in the back of a van and go and have a weekend away, and it's just great fun. Yeah. Can I tell you a story about my school?
It was good that if the Manx boys were. Sorry,
I was going to say I keep thinking of because it's
struggle hearing you, Jim.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear it's jumping in and out.
Okay.
Go for it, Jim.
I keep because I can see Hayley there. I keep thinking of these school teaching stories, but I can just tell you one. It'll only take a few moments about when I was working at a school called Pershore High School, which is in Worcestershire in the UK, and this job came up at St Ninians High School. I thought, oh, I know that school. It's just past the start. I can go and have a weekend on the Isle of Man, and I can apply for this job. So I applied for it, and I got an interview, which was great. So I came over in April. And I had a look around the school, and I really liked the school, and I thought, I should quite like it. I think I'm really going to go for this. It was a 2-day interview, so I thought to myself, I mustn't mention the motorbikes. I'd been riding in the Manx Grand Prix and everything for several years at that point, and I thought if I mention the bikes, then they won't give me the job because they'll think he only wants to come for the bike. So I didn't mention it. So then the interview went really well, and I got appointed. Fantastic. So then they said to me, well, everyone that is moving to the island, we pay for them to come over for a couple of days, and they can have a look around and decide where they want to live and everything. So I said, well, how about if I come over for the first few days in June? And they said, well, we have this thing on there called a TT, and it's not, there's loads of motorbikes and everything. I said, no, that's fine. I'll come over in June. Which is what I did, but that was my last TT. I was actually riding in that TT event, so I got an all expenses paid trip over for
it. factory rider.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm missing most of this, guys. I'm sorry. It's jumping in and out, but I'm getting the odd word. But keep going. I might pick bits up.
We can hear you. That's the important thing.
Yeah, we can hear you, definitely. So if I can just share some of the comments and the questions that are coming in, guys, I'll just
Yeah.
refer back to. So we've got Mark Hurd says, great respect to you guys. Just a quick question. During a race, if we see a travelling marshal, is somebody
again, I'm not hearing much of it.
We can hear you. Oh, oh dear, Wi-Fi. Hopefully we'll have him back in a few minutes. During a race, if we see a travelling marshal, is somebody going to an incident and you all move around in position when they do? Is that what's happened?
Yeah, if in the middle of a race, say, if you do see a travelling marshal traveling at speed, if he's going to get to the incident and he can't get back to his original position safely, or, through the back roads or whatever, we usually all will move around one as well. So sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. It all depends, really. It depends on the circumstances. But usually if you see one out in the middle of a race, he's on his way to do something, definitely.
Yeah. And I would say that's one of the things that's changed over the years that I've been involved. Back in the 90s, you used to get moved around the course all the time. But now that the communications have got a lot better and the tracking system on the bike, and I guess the bikes are going that much quicker as well, they only move us from one point on the course to another if they really have to. And that is normally when somebody falls off. So it's a pretty good indication if it's a race period that has been an incident of some nature.
Unsung heroes, that's what you are. So I've got a couple of questions from this morning's show. So Neil Williams asked, do you carry any kit, and if so, what for? So what extra kit would you put on the bike?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you want to get that one, Jib?
Oh, go on then. So again, that's changed a lot over the years. We used to have a huge, great big radio on the back of our bikes, but obviously we don't need that now. We used to have a fire extinguisher, but there's fire extinguishers at every marshalling point now. It's a little tiny little one. Still got mine. I take it camping with me now.
Might be a bit out of date now.
Well, yeah. The French police don't know that. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, fireproof gloves. You had those, but now what we're restricted to now is just really an immediate care kit. So you've got a basic. It's more than a first aid kit. It's airway management and the things that you might need that we're all trained how to use while we're in those few really important moments while you're waiting for the helicopter to turn up. So normally you'd arrive and then you'd probably expect to get there maybe a minute or two before the helicopter, but there's a lot of things that you can do in that time that might make a difference. So that's pretty much the kit we carry, I think, isn't it, Johnny?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Johnny, tell me about, so is it Honda that send you the bikes over? Is that right?
It is, yeah. So go on.
No, go for it. How long do you have it for before the actual event starts?
We usually get it a couple of weeks before TT, so we get it sort of running and get it its first service, basically. So yeah, that's always nice.
It's a nice little perk, eh?
It is, yeah. A hire car, and so we get that, and then we usually keep it sort of after the TT. We'll keep it usually at our houses until the Manx Grand Prix. Obviously, we don't use it in between. It's not like we can just jump on it and go to the shop or whatever like that. It is there. It's like a company car, if you like. It's there to do the job. But Honda have been really, really good. Like last few years now, and to supply the bikes. Same with all the guys who help us out, RST, RI. The partners are fantastic, supplying us the best kit that's out there,
So you get a special edition RI helmet, is that right?
We do, TT edition each year. Jim must have, you must have 30, 40 odd of them.
Well, I've got them all. Ooh.
There we go.
I've got a spinning.
Oh yeah, they got it. There's a picture. Is that you, Jim?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you talk about the helmets. I've got all the helmets, so I'm undecided what to do this year. It's a bit of a tease, really. So I'm not sure we're going to get given one of the 2020.
No, I don't think so.
So
furloughed.
If I don't buy one, I'm going to have that gap in the series.
Oh, how
Yeah.
rude.
Yeah, all of mine are down in the museum in Peel. There's a friend of mine called Bob Taylor, Wobbly Bob, and he runs a little museum down in Peel called the Lease Museum. It's down on the promenade there. So that's where my helmets are. That was taking up too much space in the working room at home. Yeah, yeah.
And how many are there? How many are in there?
Oh gosh, I can't think. There were a couple of years, to be fair, when we didn't have. There's got to be from 2007, 2019. There's got to be at least 10, I would say.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow! What a collection. So I've got a couple more questions here for you. So we've got feedback as well. So Mike Tyrrell, who asked the question earlier, said, "Thanks, boys. Great answers." Tracy Harrison saying, "Great interview. Absolutely loving it." And
can I say a little thing? Can I say a little thing about Tracy Harrison there?
Yeah, of course.
That's Tracy Harrison and husband Ewan go out and take loads of photographs. They're often at Sarah's cottage, and she runs a website called Tracy's Photos. But last year, through the sale of her photographs and calendars and things, put to the best part of £2,000 that she presented to 4 of our Manx Grand Prix newcomers. So as soon as you said Tracy Harrison, I thought, it's that sort of level of support from people wishing to support the riders. It's just absolutely outstanding. So thank you
Putting back into the sport, aren't they? Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. It's a really great thing to be involved in. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Ollie McGuinness is asking, can you ask Jim what is his funniest moment or story from his time as a travelling marshal? Oh, I bet you've got all sorts.
Yeah. You'd have to give me. I've got loads of funny stories, but one I remember. Ollie McGuinness stayed at our house on a homestay event, and then something happened. He did something. He rented a car from Millcrease, so I arranged that for him. Oh, that's right. There was some issue to do with the keys, so I had to put my keys in the bag, and I made an unscheduled stopping. I knew he was watching the race from Union Mills in the churchyard, so I stopped at Union Mills, and everyone thought, "Oh no, what's happened?" And I just got the keys out of my bag and handed them over to Ollie, who was stood in the church. So that was one that sticks in my mind. Yeah.
Brilliant.
You need Paul Hunt back for the funny stories.
Related stories.
Yeah.
Johnny, sorry, go for it, Jim.
No. I was just going to say what Johnny said about the bikes as well. The support that Honda put in there and we kicked the bikes for the Southern 100 as well. We're taking down to Balaun in August, and then for the Manx Grand Prix Classic TT as well. It's just, what can you say?
There's something else, aren't they?
Yeah, 7 brand new bikes like that, and it's just such a privilege to. We just appreciate that support so much.
Big time, definitely.
Yeah.
Carol Osborne, I'm guessing she's a marshal. Got a profile picture as a marshal. Tell me about governors, Jimmy. She said.
Yeah. Well, I can say, Carol's husband. Tom Osborne is probably Carol's husband's one of my oldest school friends, and we've had a sort of lifelong friendship. We had our Honda SS50 mopeds together, and absolutely all the way through. And now Tom comes over, and Carol, they marshal at Ballacrane every year for the TT and the Manx Grand Prix. And Ballacrane is just one example of they're just such a great bunch of people. And I can imagine Johnny now, like when I was younger, what I would be missing would be riding the bikes and everything. And I'm missing riding the bikes, but I think I'm probably missing meeting other people more than anything. It's such a sociable thing, and
missing all the cakes at Ballacrane is what you are.
Yeah. There's a thing about cakes at Ballacrane, but then you move around the course, and then you cut Michael, and you see Ian and Dermot and Hazzy, and then you move. I can go around the course, and then you got Vicky at Sulby Bridge, and who else will be there? Lynn and Neville and Pete, and then of course you've Parliament Square. Who's at Parliament Square? Emma, of course, yeah.
Emma and her gang.
Then up to the gooseneck, you got Kevin. Does a lot of work with the lifeboats. Absolutely fantastic guy. Brandywell, got Daryl and Julian Bowers, Ned's wife, looking after that area. Then back down to the start, the grandstand, into the Max Grand Prix Sports Complex. Yeah, it's just a nice thing, and I'm missing that side of it. Missing riding the bikes, but I'm missing meeting the people as well.
Yeah.
And Johnny, for you, being a racer and then having the opportunity to become a traveling marshal, I guess you're still able to get out on a race bike, get out on a course,
Yeah,
but also do it with your TM family, right? So it's a really amazing camaraderie, I can imagine.
It is. Yeah, it's like I say, it's a real close team, a real good team there. But yeah, being able to just go around the course on the bike, if you're not on the way to an incident, or if you're opening the roads, it's it's something pretty special. To be fair, it is really good. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, I mean, I still do quite a lot of other bikes. I ride the enduro bike, my mountain bike. So I still get my kicks that way. But being on like the latest incarnation of the Fireblade around the TT course on a closed road, it doesn't get much better than that, really.
Look at that picture. That's a great shot.
Yeah.
Is that pit lane could talk? Brilliant. And go for it.
Can you scroll backwards through those photographs?
Yeah.
If you go back a little bit to one, that one there. I can say a little bit about that one. That's an amazing photograph. That lady there. I don't know. Johnny, do you recognise her?
I don't know if I do. Jim. You put me on the spot here now.
And I'll tell you where you'll know her from. As you come out of Union Mills, and you start to walk the
and she always waves. Okay, right. Oh, right, fantastic. Finally put a face to the.
There's a little crest as you come out of Union Mills, and it's quite nice on your bike because you tend to get your front wheel comes up a little bit there, which is quite exciting. But then I don't know how many years she's been. Sadly, I'm kicking myself because I can't remember her name, but she sits on the left, just by on the crest of the hill with I'm assuming it's her husband. She's in a wheelchair, and every single practice and race,
she waves. Doesn't she?
Yeah. Every rider that passes, all us guys, and I don't know. It just wouldn't be the same if she wasn't there. No, we'll just look out for her. And I think it was Wyn Evans said to me. Wyn Evans is the rider's welfare officer, and somehow or another, then Wyn said, "Oh, you should stop and say hello." So I stopped and said hello. And, what a fantastic! She'll be missing the TT this year.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people missing it, aren't there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's such a big part of people's year, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So Johnny, tell us about the preparation that goes in for this, and what kind of your responsibility is for the day.
So
a few things that you'll do, but how is it structured for you in the prep and moving into?
I mean, sort of all the build up towards TT. We'll make sure we're all up to speed with all our first aid. We'll meet with the ambulance crew, the helicopter crew as well. Do some extra stuff with them, for like first response care, and then say on a normal day we'll sort of get our program, and it'll be say first race is at 10 o'clock. We all have our positions where we have to go just before. So say I'll turn up to Ballycrane before the roads close. Then the roads close. I'll then go off up to Kirkmichael, check that all the marshals are where they're supposed to be, all the barriers are in position, and then I'll report from Kirkmichael, let race control know that everything's good to go. And likewise with the other 6 lads, they'll all be somewhere pre-road closure, and then they'll all move around as well. So I suppose it is a bit of a responsibility, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
this is an incredible shot of you all coming down the mountain.
Yeah.
Probably a fire extinguisher in that tail pack there. Massive.
It is a responsibility because when I don't know, let's think of an example. Like last year at the Grand Prix, the weather wasn't too good, and so you ride along on your bike and you can talk to the clerk of the course. The clerk of the course is Gary Thompson, and he has an assistant clerk of the course, Lizzie Kinvig, and they set up the control tower, managing the races effectively. And they've got all the webcams around the course, but they can only see certain parts of the course, so they need updates from you about what the conditions are. And it's not unusual for them to say something like, "Well, what do you think? Is it okay to start?" Or if there's an incident, then they're going to say to you something like, "Do we need to put the red flag out?" And that, that's quite a big decision to make.
Yeah.
Because you've got to. There's a lot of different things to take into account there. So
weather conditions are the worst ones, aren't they? To put your name to, because like I say, especially here, 3/4 of it might be sunny, and then there's just that one section. You know, I'm like, so. I mean, that's definitely the worst.
Yeah, that's where we can really make an input though, because if, as Johnny said, if they all move us around one position, we're going to ride 2 or 3 miles of the course, 3 or 4 miles of the course, and then report.
Yeah.
So that update on the conditions is maybe a minute or two effectively out of date. If they get one rider to ride the whole lap, then that's going to take 20, 25 minutes. Yeah. So, you know, that weather report that he's given could be, you know, it's half an hour. As Johnny said, everything changed so quickly. So, I think we can make a real input there. Yeah, and we've all got the experience of racing on the course for several years, so we can give a rider's opinion of what it might be like to ride.
The famous microclimate of the Isle of Man, hey?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So guys, we've got some great questions here coming in. Neil Williams has asked, what happens to the bikes after you guys have thrashed them around the mountain course? Can you just imagine them being sold as delivery mileage?
They're treated with the utmost respect, those bicycles, those bikes. What happens to them? I think they just get a valet and then they're in the showroom.
Right.
I guess.
You do occasionally bump into people who say, "Oh, I've got your old bike," and they're quite. I'm trying to think of the right word now. In their eyes, it's sort of, you know,
it's a bit of history, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's got a bit of history to go with it. So some of them actually quite like to keep them looking like the travelling marshal bikes, just without the engine.
And Johnny, do you have a favourite part of a course to ride through? That's from Jim.
From who?
From Jim Gibson.
Jim Gibson, yeah, definitely. Jim is another good photographer. Kurt Michael, to be honest, is my favourite bit. Like basically the Cronkavody, I'm going to say through to Ramsey, to be honest. Just half the course there. That's my Kurt Michael. You really get a feeling of the speed, though, you know. And it's naughty going through there. Some of the speeds you go through there at. Definitely.
Jim,
Kurt Michael.
Kurt Michael. Do you have a favourite spot?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about the TT course, it's so long, and then you sort of it changes as you go along. You know, you think, you just keep learning all the time, and especially like us guys, you get the chance to ride around the course, and you might follow some people, and you just think, "Oh, wow, I hadn't realised that before." And it's just really, it's not like going around Donington Park or Mallory Park, because you go around the same corner that many times over the course of a weekend. But here, you might go around the same corner 2 or 3 times every couple of days, and then you keep learning, and it's and things keep changing all the time, and it just keeps
the track evolves, doesn't it, over here every year.
Yeah, that's what we were trying. When we have the newcomers over for their coaching, you sort of saying that to them. You can't just treat this like a standard left-hand corner, because there's all sorts of other things to take into account. The width of the road coming into the corner, the width of the road coming out of the corner, the camber on the coat, the road. You know, there's so many things to, and you're always trying to encourage people to be patient when they start riding on the course, and not to try to too quickly, too soon, and just build their speed up slowly. That's not always an easy message to get across, because some people, what's changed now is that people do so many laps before the event. You know, people come over all throughout the year and just drive around the course, and it's almost like they're becoming too confident, and they think, "I know the course." And they think, "No, you don't know the course. you might know the sequence of bends, but you've never been on the wrong side of the road before. Well, you shouldn't have been." So just give yourself a bit of time to build speed up, and that's my theory on the you've got to go steady at first. Would you agree with that, Johnny?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, well, I grew up here, so you drive it all day, every day, and then the first time I did it on closed roads, I was like, "Where am I going here? No idea where I am."
Yeah.
So it's a completely different experience. But like you say, you can get the sequence of bends into your head.
Yes.
Until you've actually been on it, when it's 2 lanes wide, it's a different animal.
You've got to feel it for all our newcomers this year. We had about 40 riders all hoping to make their debut in the Manx Grand Prix in August.
Yeah.
And guys like what you mentioned, Johnny, obviously a local. We've got guys like Paul Cassidy and Frankie Stennett, who Paul's a tanker driver and he drives the course every day. And he wanted to get out last year, didn't quite make it, and this year he's all set to go. This has happened, and you can just imagine the frustration feel. They're not inside. They're so desperate to. I remember being their age, and it just takes over everything. It's all
it
you
does.
can think about.
Yeah. That's just bikes in general. They're just
that's right. Yeah.
Anything with 2 wheels.
It's not a hobby, or
it's not as a lifestyle. It is.
It takes over everything. And it's tough for those guys. I mean, Johnny's. I guess Johnny's feeling it more missing the bike than I am, but and I'm missing the event. But for those people that were wanting to ride in it,
all the preparation from last year as well.
Yeah, that's a different level of frustration. That must be so tough for them. I really feel for them.
At least you just got a year out.
In 1987, I came over to ride in the TT. And I was riding in the production race, and I did okay in practice. I was riding a Honda CBR 600, and the weather was awful on the Friday. And there was quite a famous race involved Joe Dunlop and Phil Mellor, and Phil Mellor fell off at the Nook, and the weather was absolutely dreadful. And then I didn't care. I didn't give a monkeys about that. I thought, I want to go and do my race. I don't care. I don't care about the weather. I just want to go and do my race. And then when they said no, it's not going to happen, I was just inconsolable. And that was apparently that was the first ever race that was cancelled. That because they used to run in any conditions, but it was that bad that day. But, so it was tough.
There's nothing else on earth, is there? Like this event.
I don't. No, I don't think so. No.
There's nothing else like it in the world. But I mean, what can you say about the TT now that's not already been said? It's but I don't have the vocabulary for it.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things it has in its favour. I think that I didn't see it, but it was a question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, wasn't it? A couple of weeks ago, the £1 million question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was what is the oldest motorsport event in the year, and it was the TT. But the guy got it wrong, and it cost him £1 million. But the reason why I'm saying that is that I think the TT is unique, and the longer it goes on, the more unique it gets. And you see the reaction of people who've never been to watch the races before, and that's the really interesting one. And I get talking to quite a lot of people, and they've never been to the TT before, and they say, "Well, where should we go?" And I say, "Well, go to Gorsley." I don't know if you know life out of them. No Gorsley, it's like a really, really, really fast right-hand corner, and if that doesn't float your boat, it's just so different to anything else. In fact, you can be sat on the wall there, and the bikes are going so quick, right, quite literally next to you.
A couple of inches, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's so. Yeah, that's I think that's what it has in its favour. That's what it's got going for it. It is a link to motorsport as motorsport started out, and that's what they've got to look at.
I don't think there's any way you can get road racing in general where you can get that close, is there, to the action?
No. I mean, I like going to the MotoGP as well, and I like going around. The Saxon Ring with my brother and my brother Jeff and my friend Keith, Dutch TT or whatever. But you're so far away from the course.
Yeah,
it just doesn't you can't. They haven't got the same connection. Maybe that's what it is. You haven't got the same connection with the bikes and the people as well.
The paddock as well,
right,
just walk into the paddock and look at these super bikes, these.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to share these. Got lots of people commenting; they're loving it. Stephen, is that your Oatsy? This might be your Oatsy. Is it? Get on the line, Elvis. Speed Dean.
Why is he talking to me?
Speed Dean. You have to have tyre changes though out the event. Tyre changes at the event. It'll be, won't it? Have tyre changes during the day.
No, I mean we run sort of those Dunlop road tyres, and they warm up really quickly, and they last the whole 2 weeks and the 2 weeks of the Manx Grand Prix as well. So that's TT and the Manx.
Oh wow!
So they're really good, those Dunlop tyres. So no, we just keep the same tyres on. I mean, after they come with Pirellis after the running period. Dunlop obviously support us as well, so they put them on, and then that's it for the year. They're bang on.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Some more comments. Ian Croxford, as a marshal, who was involved with the incident last year, it was reassuring. Who was involved with the incident last year? It's very reassuring when these guys turn up. They do a great job and roll on TT 2021. Yeah,
cheers, Ian.
Yeah. You guys, you obviously enjoy what you do. It's a tough job that you do, but you don't realize how much of an amazing impact that you do have on so many people's lives, and not just the people that you see to incidents. It's all the spectators and the people that you look after around the track. It's really special, the stories that you hear when you walk around the paddock and you get chatting to people who have had connections with you. Look at
that's good to hear. That's nice to hear.
Yeah. People are really. I think people are really supportive, aren't they? People. Yeah. That's back in the days when we had 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 9. So you got John McBride, Dean Harrison, Ian McVitie, Brett Gates. You can tell Brett because he's twice as tall as everybody else. that's Trubby on the front. Then Tony Duncan as the boss. Ned Bowers, and then sadly Dick Cassidy, who was chief, but sadly Dick passed away. I think it was last year, so that's pretty sad. But that picture was taken up at the Guthrie Memorial. I'm not sure what year that is. I don't know. I'm going to say around about 2008 or 9, something like that. I would think. Oh yeah. So that Dean Harrison there. That's Nathan Harrison's dad. Nathan Harrison won the. He was hoping to ride. He did won the junior and senior Manx Grand Prix. Was hoping to do the TT this year, so he's another one who'd be disappointed.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So, how many do you have signed up at one time for each event? Then do you have to have it? Do you always stick to the same number, or?
Well, there's seven for the TT, isn't there?
Yeah,
and then it's Tony, Paul, and Jim that do the Southern 100 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the same. We pretty much stick to the same numbers. Yeah. I mean, on your caption for the like promo thing here, it said "unsung heroes," and that's nice. But I think, for my money, the people that really deserve the credit are the people who go up and marshal on the mountain.
Yeah.
Those, good grief! I mean, those guys are, and they're up there quite literally all day long, and it gets really bleak up there. We get called up occasionally if something happens, and it's bleak. It's grim.
It can be on a good day. It's probably nowhere better, isn't it?
But you get up there late August, and it's blowing, and it's cold, and it's unpleasant. And they turn out all the time, and for my money, they don't get any recognition for it. They don't get a bike or anything, so they really are. That's something else. And, without those people doing that, we wouldn't go anywhere. So, and the marshals. Can I ask you a question, Hayley?
Go for it.
How many marshals do you think we need on the course before we can start?
I don't know. Maybe around 100 or so.
No. If my understanding is, if we've got 519 marshals, that's not enough. We've got to get the magic number is 520, and we've got to have 520 marshals positioned at the correct location before we're allowed to start. And occasionally now, before a race, you might see a marshal's response vehicle taking marshals around to locations where they're short. And that's a huge number of people. It's very black and white. If you haven't got the 520, that's it. There's nothing's happening.
And they're all volunteers as well, aren't they? And some of them just come back year on year.
Yeah. And going back to people like Carol and Tom and Ian, everybody puts a huge commitment into the races just to make them happen, and they do all the training beforehand. So I spoke to Dina Corrin, the secretary of the TT Marshals Association, earlier today, and said, "Is there anything I could mention?" And she said, "Look, particularly for next year's Manx Grand Prix, we need people to register on the TT Marshals Association website. And once they're registered on the website, you don't have to have any experience, nothing. You'll get invited to do some training, and no marshals, no racing. It's as simple as that. So it's if you just Google TT Marshals Association, that will take you to the website, and you can register there. And once you're registered, you'll start getting the emails, and when the training becomes available. And we've just got to take every opportunity we can to encourage people to do that.
And you're on the side of the track, aren't you? You get the best view. If you're marshal, you got the best view.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Some of the stories as well when you get to, because I like driving around and going to different spots. And the stories when you get chatting to the marshals, some of the things that the funny stories, the things they've seen over the years. And I remember chatting to one guy when we made a documentary a few years ago, and he'd gone through marriages because he was so committed to his marshal. He was on his third wife. And that one was with my marshal. He wouldn't let me come to a TT anymore. I'm like, so I had to get rid of that one. I'm like,
yeah. Perhaps that goes into the prenuptial arrangement agreement. Yeah.
Okay, guys, so we've got a few more comments here. So we've got William Rankin. It's sometimes scary how fast you guys are. Sometimes scary how fast you guys are sometimes looking faster than races in some of the sections. Is this just down to experience? That's a great question, William Rankin. Thank you.
Well, that's not me, William. I'm the fat one at the back.
Oh dear, you're too hard on yourself, Jim. You're too hard on yourself. Maybe true at the Manx Grand Prix if there's classic bikes going through, but I don't know about the TT. The speeds are incredible now around the TT, aren't they? It's scary, and the bikes are so fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, as long as we look fast, that's all that matters, isn't it? As long as we look quick.
Yeah. And then, you look. You can see those speeds that they're doing and think, it's impressive. Under 17-minute lap of the course. But having tried it and had a go at it, and then you think he's just unbelievable.
Yeah. It's all faked. It's all faked for TV.
It's like it's incomprehensible.
It is.
Quickly, honestly, and have the courage to do it, and just they deserve all. They don't. I don't think they get enough. They don't. I don't think they don't get enough credit
for what it is. 100%.
Yeah, it's a superhuman effort. It requires so much dedication and skill and everything else. It's really they deserve more recognition. Yeah. That's my thought anyway. That's my opinion.
So Phil Turner now says, great interview, guys. And he has a question. Do you have a favourite standout moment whilst you've been a TM? And what is it? So go with you, Johnny, to start with.
Favourite standout moment? I don't know, to be honest. I can't think. I'm on the spot here. I've not got like a full standout moment. But no, I don't know. I don't think I could answer it. I don't think I could. I'll have to go to you, Jim.
I've got that Valentino Rossi lap when Valentino came over a couple of years ago, that was something really special to be part of, and just riding around the course and seeing all the people, and I think it's like every man and his dog came out. Just it's such a famous, probably the most famous motorcyclist on the planet, and there he was riding around a TT course. That was really something nice. I guess on a personal note, that's when, because I thought Roy Moore was going to be with us tonight, and I was thinking, how could I connect? I thought, how could I connect Roy Moore, Paul Hunt, and myself? Unfortunately, Johnny didn't fall into it, but we've all got sons who've ridden in the races. So Roy, of course, has got Peter, and I think Roy had a year off his commentating when Peter was competing for the first time. And then, of course, Paul's son Gavin did a couple of years at the TT, and then my own son Jack did a Max Grand Prix and a couple of TTs, and that's a pretty tough thing to get your head around as well. But Paul, as always, was the guiding light on that, because I remember speaking to Paul Hunt and said, how'd you get on with Gavin riding? And he said, look, it's very straightforward. You just give them absolutely all the support that you can. And he said, if you weren't out marshalling, then you'd be just sat in the pits worried about it. So you might as well be out marshalling, and then and just support. So I thought, yeah, that's words of wisdom. That's the way to do it. So it is quite a tricky one though, because you shouldn't be looking out for anyone particular when the racing's on, but inevitably when it's your son riding around, you keep going to them. So yeah, that's nice. I
think you're missing all the barrage of cake abuse you're getting in the comments.
I have to get myself a balaclava next to
Pop-up bakery, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Who's making these cakes? Are they Marshals make
all the Marshals? Yeah. They make some great cakes down there. Honestly, they're fantastic. Right, it's always a shame. It's always a shame when you get moved on from Balaclava.
That's right.
Yeah. Someone did ask, actually, where's your favourite station? Where would be your first chosen point? We'll close on that one.
Really depends. I mean, I like Douglas Road Corner in Kirkmichael, but on a sunny day, it's just a sun trap. There's no wind. There's it's hot there, and obviously you sort of can't really take your jacket and your leathers and what have you off. So, I mean, it depends day to day. If it's raining, anywhere that's got a shelter.
Yeah.
Anywhere with a kettle. That's my favourite.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Jim?
I'm just thinking about that was
about this Balaclava. Just don't lie to everyone. Just tell them. Just tell the truth.
No, they're all. There's nowhere I don't like going. To be fair, they're all smashing places. Everywhere's just so different, and they've all got their own bunch of characters. And it's just this great way to spend a day, just riding around speaking to everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
I just thought that was a memorable moment when I remember when William Dunlop fell off at Laurel Bank, and Michael stopped to help carry his brother onto the helicopter. That was you wouldn't forget that. I just saw a different side to Michael's character there now. I don't know Michael at all, and you still see him with his race head on, and he's just so focused on the racing, and I get that entirely, but to see the compassion there for his brother, that was I always saw him in a different light after that. So, that was one.
He helped you carry him, didn't he, on the stretcher to the helicopter?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's quite a long way from, as you know, there's the three corners to the Laurel Bank sequence, and the helicopter lands at the furthest point from where William fell off. So yeah, it's quite a walk. But Michael was just superb, and I think William was really reassured to have his brother there. And then it was a memorable moment. I couldn't say it was my best moment, because it was an incident and somebody falling off, so that was a good thing. But it was certainly a very, very memorable moment. Yeah.
Someone just commented, Laura Sawyer says that photo that was taken on the day was pretty special. It is really, isn't it? Capturing that moment.
Oh, that one from that. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of the. I can't think of the name of the guy who took it. I'm sorry.
No. So Johnny, not long now till the next TT.
Yeah.
The Manx Grand Prix is not happening. So what next for you? You just got to keep getting yourself out on the roads, keep getting your own little fix.
Yeah, that's it. Just like I say, I've been out on the mountain bike quite a lot this year, probably more this year than I have in the last 2 years. And the scene over here is really good for that as well. So just do a lot of that. Bit of enduro riding here and there. Just take it as it comes, really, and just wait. Just sit by the phone and my leathers and my helmet waiting for the call,
Your 2019
just praying. There's only so many times you can cut the grass to try and stay busy,
Listen, guys, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on and hearing your story.
No problem.
Hopefully we can get you back on here again in the future. So thank you.
I might have had a haircut by then. Hope you can stop taking the piss. Elvis.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Cheers. Thank you, Hayley. Cheers.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Your input and your questions, we really appreciate it. If you do have any more questions, if you're watching this back on the replay, still send them our way. We will clock them and we will bank them even. Can't speak properly, I'm so excited. And we will send them over to the guys the next time that we hopefully get them back on the show. But that was quite a show, really lovely, and to hear some of their stories. What committed guys, and they are absolutely our unsung heroes of the event, aren't they? So I'm sure every single one of you agree. Guys, I am back tomorrow at 6 p.m. with the great Davey Todd. We'll be talking. He's obviously well known around the track on his Honda, and also gaming in the gaming world. He's loving the TT Ride on the Edge game, that's second game that's just been released. So he's doing really great with that. So we're going to be talking comparisons between the track and the game. And Friday we have the great DJ Carl Cox. So Carl Cox, obviously his team, Carl Cox Motorsport, would have been over here this year racing in the TT, have been very prominent in the paddock over the last few years, as has the personality himself. So Carl will be joining us from 4 till 6 on Friday, and I cannot wait to hear his stories, his history in motorsport, why he is a part of it, and also just to have the man himself on in our studio. So guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for riding with us, and I'll see you tomorrow.